Interstate 74. Yeah. Alright, we're talking about the Ohio, Indiana, through Illinois, through the Davenport area. Interstate 74. Since May, I did my Interstate 74 in North Carolina, but now we're going to do Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, through Iowa. Famous towns: Cincinnati, Indianapolis, and then we get to Peoria. Then we head up to Davenport, make its end on Interstate 80. And once we get on Interstate 75, as we leave the Cincinnati area, we just get Interstate 74 westbound and US Highway 52 westbound. US 27 will be splitting off with Interstate 75, while US 52 and 27 will join up with Interstate 74. It's the beginning of Interstate 74. US 27 is splitting off. So while US 52 and Interstate 74 will head into Indianapolis, that's where we're going. Now we're going to be concurrent with Interstate 275. So we get Interstate 275 northbound, signed for Dayton. So we get a mention for Interstate 75 on there too. So Interstate 74 and while US 52 both head into Indianapolis. Interstate 275 is splitting off into Kentucky. Why not Lexington or Louisville, Kentucky for Interstate 275? So Interstate 74 and US 52 will just head into Indianapolis. And welcome to Indiana. Here we are. US Highway 52 is splitting off, while Interstate 74 will head into Indianapolis. Now we're going to be concurrent with US Highway 421 northbound. This will take you into Indianapolis to downtown. Here we go. So it's time for Greensburg. Why not Lexington, Kentucky, or Frankfort? US 421 is about to split off. So we're about to join up with Interstate 69, US 40, and US 36. So we're about to join Interstate 465 in downtown Indianapolis. And US Highway 31 also joins the Indianapolis downtown. So we get Interstate 65 signed for Indianapolis for northbound. Why not something else like Chicago, Illinois? 265 southbound is signed for Louisville. So we are already in downtown Indianapolis. US 31 is splitting off. Why not Louisville, Kentucky for US Highway 31? Interstate 69 is splitting off. It'll head into Evansville. So yes, you can go to Evansville with Interstate 69. We get Interstate 70 signed for St. Louis, Missouri and Indianapolis. Why not put Dayton and Columbus, Ohio for Interstate 70? While Interstate 74 will head into Peoria. US 40 is splitting off. So US 36 is about to split off too. Now we're going to say goodbye to US Highway 36. Here's the beginning of US Highway 136. That's coming out today. So we're getting signed for Interstate 74 for Peoria. Here's a look at US Highway 231 signed for Lytton and Crawfordsville. Here's a look at US Highway 41 signed for Werdersburg and what? I am not going to say that on the bottom. That is confusing. There is no interchange for US Highway 136. Here's a look at the Wabash River. And welcome to Illinois. Yeah! Here's a look at US Highway 150. Here's the second time we're meeting US Highway 150 once again. Here's a look at US Highway 45, signed for Cunningham Avenue and Rantoul. Interstate 57 northbound is signed for Chicago, while southbound is signed for Memphis. We get Interstate 72 signed for Decatur. Here's a look at US Highway 136 signed for Hayworth and Rantoul. Here's a look at US Highway 51 signed for Decatur and Bloomington. And Rockford for northbound. So now we're going to be concurrent with Interstate 55 signed for St. Louis, Missouri and Chicago. So we're signed for Chicago, Rockford, and Peoria. Southbound is signed for St. Louis, Missouri. Here's a look at US Highway 150 once again. Signed for Market Street and I'm not going to say that word. Interstate 55 is splitting off. So is US Highway 51. We get a mention for Interstate 39 signed for Rockford. So while Interstate 74 is still signed for Peoria. Here's a look at Interstate 151. Southbound is signed for Lincoln. We get Interstate 474 signed for Moline and Rock Island. So we're still signed for Peoria. We get US Highway 150 and US Highway 24. Here's a look at the skyline of Peoria. Here's a look at Interstate 774, signs for Indianapolis. So Interstate 74 is signed for Moline and Rock Island for that. Here's a look at US Highway 34, signed for Monmouth, and I'm not going to say that word for eastbound. We get Interstate 80 eastbound, signed for Chicago. We're signed for Moline and Rock Island. So Interstate 80 is signed for Davenport. Now we're going to say goodbye to Interstate 280, signed for Des Moines and Rock Island. US 6 is signed for Quad City Airport. And we're signed for Moline with US Highway 6. Here's a look at the Mississippi River. So now we're in Iowa. Here's a look at US Highway 67 that is coming out next Saturday. So welcome to Iowa. US 6 is finally splitting off. So this is our last split off with the US Highway to make Interstate 74 to end on Interstate 80. And Interstate 74 ends. We get Interstate 80 westbound, signed for Des Moines, and 80 eastbound, signed for Chicago. So that is it for Interstate 74 video. So thank you all for watching. Later today, we will do Interstate 69. And my US Highway 19 video, part 1, is coming out today. So next Saturday, we will do US Highway 41, part 1, US Highway 67, and Interstate 30. So thank you all for watching, and bye-bye.